everyone to the Authentic as Fuck podcast. My name is Sun. I am a marketer and storytelling coach. So, in this podcast, I work with real entrepreneurs and I kind of answer any questions they might have in their business, branding, things like that. So, today we have two guests, as always. First is Ankit. Hey, Ankit, how are you? So, can you kind of tell us where you're from, what you do, and then go into your question?
Hello everyone, I'm Ankit. I'm a brand designer from India and I do branding for personal brands in mental health space.
Awesome. And what do you what's your
Yep,
question?
my question is about how to do outreach and network with possible collaborators and people you want to work with. I'm finding it difficult to do that.
Got it. And the reason is because you want to get a different caliber of clients, or because you want more
Yeah,
clients, or
I want more clients, so that would be my like, yeah.
more clients. How are you getting clients
Currently,
now?
by mostly by referrals. Someone would see my work and then they would reach out to me like we have following requirements. And that's why I'm currently like in this limbo stage, like I'm stuck between having no clients or having one or two clients at the moment.
So referrals,
Yep.
like, are you getting referrals from your clients? Okay, and that's not
Yeah,
enough.
I
You need
think
more.
that's not sustainable. I think because sometimes there would be moment where I have no clients, so I don't know like how to avoid that like festival and feast kind of a thing, so I have to avoid that.
Got it. Okay, okay, okay. So what you need to be doing is, so it's a slow building process, right? So it's not going to happen overnight, right? So you need to network a little bit and start working with, a different kind of caliber of clients. And then once you do that, they're going to introduce to other clients and so on and so on and so on, right? So first, before we go into networking, the thing I'm going to ask is this. Um, how is your relationship with your current clients, and how over and beyond are you going for them?
In terms of work, as I've said earlier, that I don't limit myself like these are the working hours or this is like this is the many hours I will work only. If I have something like they have some goals to meet, I will give my 100% to achieve that goal, whatever it might be. Because once I've taken them as a client,
Okay.
I will do my best to help them achieve their goal.
And how does so that's, I think you just talked about your
Mhm.
work ethics, right? Now I want to ask about your relationship with the client. Does your client love you?
I'm not sure they love me or not, but it's very friendly and casual relations. To be honest about that, and I think
Okay.
I limit myself there. Yeah,
That is important.
because I don't go overboard.
That's actually more important than how hard you're working is actually less important than whether they love you or not. Because clients will refer somebody they love, but they're not going to refer somebody that is the best in the world if they don't love them.
Yep.
Do you understand what I mean? So first things first, I want to make sure that this part is being done right, because I've never heard a successful agency, successful freelancers. I've never heard a successful freelancer who said, I became successful because I was good at outreaching and getting new clients. No freelance designers have ever, ever, ever said that. If you talk to 100% of the top 100 designers out there in the world, every single one of them is going to be like, I grew my business because my clients refer other clients. So if that is currently not happening, that means there's something going on. Your referral should be like this. In the beginning, there's no referral, right? And then you work with one client, then there's like one referral, and then as you build your career, the referrals should expand like that. And if it's not, it means you're doing something wrong in your everyday service with your clients.
Yeah,
Do you
definitely.
understand what I mean? And also, I want to caveat this because depends on how you want to grow your business,
Mhm.
right? If you want to grow your business like me, where I started out as a freelancer and then agency and then still a boutique agency, and we charge high prices, and like the way we built our business is very different than like somebody who has like $1,000 template, $2,000 package, and a $3,000 package, and like it's very different, right? So if you want to build a freelance career or agency like this, it's very important because everyone that I know that are like this, it's all referrals. And what you're gonna find is that if you talk to their clients, like their clients would never hire any other designer.
Hmm.
Like they like once they work with them, they're like, okay, I found my lifetime designer here. I would never work with any other designer ever again because my experience was that good. Right? So I'm gonna ask you one more time. When you work with a client and when you finish a project for them, are you leaving them with that kind of experience? Like, holy shit, working with Ankit has been life changing. I would never hire ever. I will never hire any other designers ever again. Like after working with Ankit, like,
Yeah, yeah.
do
I'm
you
going
understand what I
down my
mean?
memory line to figure out like who has
Bec-
said that to me. I think there's been conversation like this. Like uh, I even got testimonials for this. Like he goes over and beyond just to help us achieve that goal, and that's why we loved working with him.
okay, so you want for so number one thing I'm gonna say is currently with your current clients, because a lot of people I see do this. People that want to grow Instagram, when they create content, you know where their focus is? New audience. Oh, how can I get strangers with this? They're not even thinking about their existing audience, right? That's how people are. When people run an agency, where is their mind? New clients. How do I get new clients? They're not really paying attention to their existing clients. This is the number one mistakes that businesses make. The way you get new clients is by going over and beyond with every single one of your existing client. And every single one of your existing clients should feel like after this, should feel like this. We live in a world where I hire so many vendors, I hire photographer, babysitters, plumbers, interior designers, mechanics. I hire all kind of designers, right? I hire all kind of vendors, and you know what's the common ground here? You know what I experience every time? That every single one of them don't care. Every single one of them are terrible. They don't care about me. I have to constantly argue with them. I have to constantly, you know, like battle with them to get what I want, right? That's the feeling that's the norm. And then come in this guy Ankit. I trust this guy with my firstborn child. That's how much I trust this guy because he's went over and beyond to prove that I can trust him. Throughout the 1 month of working with him, he's proved that to me. Therefore, from now on, if anybody's asking me, do you know a designer? Hey, who did your website? I'm not going to anyone else.
Yep.
Do you understand what I mean? But the opposite is also true. When a client is unhappy or they're not 100% satisfied, they're just average satisfied, they're not going to go out of their way to tell you. No clients, like no clients are coming back to you and be like, "Oh, your service sucked, therefore I'm never going to work with you again." They just don't work
Yeah.
with you. They just disappear. They don't say anything. So a lot of freelancers and agency owners that I talk to are like, "Oh yeah, we never hear complaints from our complaints from my clients." You know why? It's because they're just leaving you. So right now, what's going on is all these people are unhappy and they're leaving you. And the worst part is you don't even know why because they don't tell you. That's what's happening. So if a client is not saying anything, it means they're unhappy, right? If the client is satisfied, right, that means they're actually just on par. If a client is happy, they'll go out of their way to tell you. They're gonna be like, Ankit, you just totally save our ass. You just totally saved my life. That's the kind of that's the kind of thing I need from the clients. And that's the kind of person that's gonna actually refer someone. Because I said this many times, but at this level, the way referral works is a lot of people think at the lower level sales, people think that referrals are like, oh hey, do you know a designer? Oh yeah, let me check my LinkedIn. Oh yeah, I know this guy. Boom. You're gonna refer some designer that you never even worked with before, right? Oh, do you know a developer? Oh yeah, I know this guy. He's a programmer. Hey, go talk to him. That's how everybody does introductions and referrals, right? So what happens? I hire him. Boom. Oh, big mistake. This guy sucks. And then I'm like, oh fuck. I can't believe you refer that to you refer him to me, Ankit. I don't I don't trust you anymore to refer anyone to me ever again. Okay. I mean, this is how most referrals work. Okay. Which is why I never, ever, 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 ever refer anyone. I have a small Rolodex of about a dozen people in my life, right? Less than 20 people in my life that I've worked with. These are the top best programmer in the world that I know, best photographer I know in the world, best videographer I know. These are the top best copywriter I know in the world. These are the top people. If I refer any of these people to any of my clients or anyone, 0% chance that I'm going to get any clients with them. Actually, the opposite is going to happen. They're going to come to me and be like, "Son, thank you so much. I've been, I've been, I spent last 3 years looking for this perfect person, and you found it for me." That's the kind of remark that I'm going to get, right? And that's the reason why when when uber successful people want to hire a great designer, they'll come to me and ask me, "Son, do you know a great designer? Do you know an amazing designer?" And I actually have people coming and asking me that all the time right now. I would love to be able to say, hey, I do know one. His name is Ankit. I would love to be able to say that. But can I trust you, Ankit? Have you earned your trust with me?
Mhm.
Right? So for example, day one, if he said, Ankit, son, I'm gonna make your website for you. I'm gonna design your social media, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't have to do anything. And you went over and beyond. Like, and you just fucking did amazing work. I didn't even have to like babysit you or anything like that. Where you proved yourself to me, then I guarantee you, next time somebody's like, "Do you know a designer?" I won't even hesitate. But that hasn't happened. That rarely happens to me. Actually, the opposite is true. Every time I go to a semi decent designer and say, "Hey, I have this client for you if you want to work with them, but you're gonna have to either give him a discount or do it for free because he has a lot of opportunities for you in the future." You know what they say to me? They say, "Son, I'm not cheap." No, that's what they say. I'm not cheap, son. No, I gotta. Yeah, I have to charge at least this much. Yeah, okay, do that. Do that so you can make an extra couple $1,000 right now. Because 10 years from now, your business will never get there.
Yep.
Do you understand what I mean? Okay. Now that's this side. That's if you want to run a business like me. If you want to run a business like this, that's a different story. Yeah, you do want to go out and network, but like you want to do that whole thing where you just like DM 50 people a day, right? And just like try to get them to into a package. It's like, oh, we have this package. Like just a numbers game, right? If you wanna, but if you want to run a business like this is how I would do outreach. Instead of outreaching 50 people a day, like with canned thing where I can get into an automated thing. Here, what I would do is I would just pick not 50 people a day, but 50 of my dream clients that I would like to work with. 50 dream clients that I want to learn everything from and I want to prove myself to. Okay. And I would go to that person and I would do this. I would say, hey, I'll pay you to work for you. And then I would make a website so for example, like I would go to somebody like Jay Shetty. Actually, no, Jay Shetty. We did Jay Shetty. When we did Jay Shetty, um, we actually went above and beyond in order to get that project. But those kind of people, I would actually go to them. I would go to Gary Vee and be like, Gary, here, how much do you normally pay your video editors? How much do you normally pay your web designer? What, 60,000 a year, $100,000 a year? I'll pay you $100,000 a year to work for you. A year later, I never have to worry about a client again. But that's the thing. Most entrepreneurs these days are not willing to put in the investment up front. They all want it now. They all want, it's like Crystal and like all the love yourself people out there going like, oh, hey, you have to know what you're worth. You got to charge what you're worth. You got to charge 10K for a logo. You got to sell the value now. Okay, yes. If you're good, if you're good, and if you have those leads, and if you are known, yes. But if you're starting out, nobody knows you, and you're not good, yeah, keep listening to that advice of know your worth. Don't sell yourself short. Yeah, keep listening to that advice as a beginner. See if that's gonna take you anywhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's what I would reach out to one person, say, hey, let me intern for you for free, or let me build your website for free. And I would literally, like, once he says yes, I would literally clear my schedule and work on this project as if it was my only project. Or actually, I would clear my schedule and work on this project because it is my only project right now. And I would put like my heart, soul, and blood into it. And then I'll go over, and because a lot of people do they make this mistake. When I say this, they're like, oh yeah, and they reach out to these people, and oh, it's like, I'll do your website for free. I'll do your website for free. I'll do and they're like, okay, do it for free. And then they're like, oh, it's a free website, so I'll just do it on the side in my extra time. Like, oh, I have these paying clients, and I'll just spend. So what? This gets delayed, and they're not happy with you. So now you fucking ruined this relationship, right? So no, don't do that. Clear your schedule. Put your entire energy and soul into this project and make it like your goal is to go and win awards. The WWW awards. That's your goal. Your goal is to win a Webby. That's your goal. And if you do that, that is a stepping stone of building a business like this.
Yep. I'm thinking yes.
So 50 people, reach out to one of them
Mhm.
individually, and I would like literally offer to do a project for them for free, just to prove myself or just to learn even, you know.
Yep. And my next obvious question would be then, how do I sustain myself with like
Like
financially?
with
Yeah.
okay, that's a completely different question. A lot of people that I know, if one thing that I realize is that um if you're worried about money, you're not going to be able to build a business. Here's the thing. When I started my business, I was dead broke. When I started Night Owl, I was living in the office, renting out our office, my apartment on Airbnb, and then use that money to pay for some of the bills in the office. That's how we started the business. So I was dead broke, but I wasn't worried about money. That's the thing. So, but from listening to you, it sounds like you are worried about money. And the reason why that never works is because I was in that situation my first year of Night Owl, where we kept digging ourselves in a hole, right? Like we have all these bills to pay, we have all these accounts receivable, which we need to finish the project in order to get paid. But because we don't have cash flow, now I need to go out and get all these bullshit projects with this bullshit clients, these red flag clients, which I know is gonna be a drag, which I know is gonna cause problems. But what do I have to do? I have to take it on right now because I need the cash today because I have to pay my designer today. So I take it. And then now this turns into long nightmare project where we're losing money from it, not making. So in order to cover for that, I have to take on another project. So why I do it? I ignore the red flags. And then every meeting that I go to, I'm desperate. And the clients can smell that desperation. It's like, this guy's a little too desperate. Now,
Mhm.
You see what I'm trying to say? So when you're in that desperate place, you're never going to be able to grow a business because you're not thinking clearly. You're not able to confidently turn down projects that's a red flag. That's going to be unprofitable. You're not able to, you know, make logical decisions. You're not able to sell confidently in a sales meeting. Like all those tiny little things are happening when you're worried about money. That's why one of the first lessons that I learned in business in the beginning is that, so right there what happened is after that first year, I literally went into a hole. Me, our main developer, Gigi, three of us. And we even have photos of like us like late at 3 in the morning, like dancing with our dog because we're all delusional, like working all night. Like we for 6 months we went into a hole to get ourselves out of the hole. We locked our doors, we blocked everything out, we put our head down, work 18 hours a day every day to get us out of that hole. And once we had like a 6 months of runway, 6 months of expenses paid up front, then I was able to confidently walk into meetings, raise my prices, close those deals because I was confident. You know what I mean? But in the beginning days, I couldn't. So if anybody's in that place where you're worried about money, but you want to start a business too, the problem with that is that you're not going to be profitable in the first couple years of business. If you're trying to make your business profitable in the first couple of years of business, you're never going to be able to grow your business. So you're just going to be stuck in this rut year after year. That's why most people start a business and just kept stuck in. They're basically stuck like a
Mhm.
9 to 5 job, right? It's because they're not properly investing into the business in the beginning years, and they're not properly investing into the business because they don't have the money to properly invest in the beginning. So that's a really, really dangerous move. What I would advise is start it as a side hustle, meaning go get a safe 9 to 5 job that's going to pay all your bills, that you never have to worry about money, that you can go to your client and say, fuck you. If they're, like if they're fucking you over, you can go to a client and say, no, I deserve this much. Like until you can do that, you can't do that if you don't have the safety. So I would say find a 9 to 5 job and start it as a side hustle. The problem is this: a lot of people get their 9 to 5 job, they go to work, and then after work, they go home. They're like, "Oh, I'm so tired from work today," and then your friends are calling you to go out to dinner, and you're playing video games, and you're like, "Okay, I'll start tomorrow." And tomorrow comes, you go to work. Oh, come on! Such a long day at work today. I'm tired. Same thing happens. Maybe you spend an hour doing something. No. When I started my side hustle, this is what I had 2 jobs. I had a 9 to 5 job, and I came home. I literally would change into a different outfit and sit at my desk, and now I have another 8 hours to go. I literally treated it like another complete full time job. And that's what you need to do in order to get this. Most people cannot do that because what I said, they're tired from their work. They go home, they're like, tomorrow, so on and so on, right? Um, Second thing is, what we did was I didn't go back. I could have. I was actually like really close to the point where I should have went out and get. I could have went out and get a regular job in order to support my business, but I didn't. What we did instead was we just worked our ass off, and we just caught up to all those projects, and then we just like saved every dollar. We did it the hardcore way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say you need that. If you don't have that runway, that luxury of being able to make logical decisions, I would highly advise set that up first. You're young. You have a whole life ahead of you. You don't need to, like for you to start like 3 years later on the right foot will actually make you much more successful in the long run than trying to start 3 years earlier in the wrong foot where you're just
Mhm.
stuck in a rut, right? Think long term. They say it takes 80 years to build a brand. So if it takes 80 years to build a brand, right now you're probably thinking very short term, like 1 year, 2 year, right? But if you're thinking 8 years, like your whole plan changes.
Definitely. I got a lot on my head. Thanks for sharing your story.
Do you have
No, I'm just
anything
thinking
else?
about. Actually, I'm having two conflicting advices here, so I have to weigh it out. Like, what is good for me? And in terms of runway, I have enough to sustain myself for 3 4 months. So that's why I was focusing more on outreach. But I think I have done the similar thing, like offering, going to someone and offering, like, I will work for free for you. And I think it's possibly turning into a good opportunity, good working opportunity. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit okay. So first, you need to decide what route you want to take, right? So at your place, what I would probably do is not just reach out to people that you think you can get, but reach out to people that you really
Okay.
want to work with, right? And don't say I'll do it for you for free. Say, tell them this is what I would do if it's somebody that I really like. I like, for example, there's a member at Night Owl Nation. His name is Vin, right? And he teaches public speaking, communications, storytelling, and things like that. And he's a public speaker. And this guy is like killing it. He got like in the last year he got 1 million followers. In 6 months he got like 700,000 followers in the past 6 months. Like this guy is killing it, right? And he so what I would do is if I wanted to work with him and I'm kind of like at a more junior level or something like that, I would because I know him well. I know I know how I would approach it. What I would say is like, "Hey, man, like I know you. I know I've seen all your videos. I know your personality. You're very quirky, and I love how you do this icons here on the podcast. But when I go to your website is so off brand. It's too fancy and blah blah blah. I just feel like it's not you. Like, so what do you think about like something like I would actually do a two couple of mock-ups and be like, oh, what do you think about something like? And I would just try to make friends with them and try to like you know, get in there. And I would do that with like, and if this doesn't work, do it with the next person, right? And what I'm trying to get to is I'm trying to get to the point where this person is going like, oh wow, it's something. When if you do that, trust me, you're gonna get noticed because number one, I have 100 people DMing me every day saying, hey, can I work for you for free? Can I work for you for free? Okay, so you DM me, can I work for you free? I'm not even gonna open it probably. But if you send me a design and you do all of that, immediately I'm like, okay, number one, he's the only person to ever just go ahead and like do it first and then send it to me, not just fucking ask me for free business. Number two, this guy actually knows what I'm doing. He actually knows me. And number three, I like his dedication. I love how driven he is, blah, blah, blah. Those are three things that I don't see on the 100 people that's DMing me every day. So you are gonna get their attention. Trust me. The goal is to just get on the Zoom call with them and have that conversation, and over time make friends with them, and get this person to trust you. And then a few weeks later, I'll probably send them another design. Be like, hey, you should try something like this in your sales page. Hey, have you ever tried doing carousels in your Instagram? I noticed that you only do reels and you don't do carousels. How about something like this? I would keep investing my time. Let's say you invested 50 hours, 40 hours, which is 1 week, one
Mhm.
week work week, right? Let's say you invested 40 hours into that and then you were able to build a relationship with this person. Is that worth the 40 hours? Hell yeah. But most people don't want to invest that 40 hours. They just want to outreach, 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 outreach. How come nobody's getting back to me? That's what's happening. Well, I just told you why nobody's getting
Yeah.
back to you. you know? Yeah, and right now in the beginning of a business, the first thing I would do is have your bread and butter. Right now, I feel like what you should be looking at, actually, for you, if you have 3 months of runway, the only thing I would do right now is look for that one client that's gonna keep your business running. Meaning, I would go out and find the boring ass client, boring ass company. That's just all they want you to do is just retouch photos every every week. They just want you to create these email templates every week. Some boring shit, but they're gonna give you a lot of money to do it. Like I would find a gig like that so you have some safety here that you never have to worry about bills. And then here is you're investing. You're investing into the future. You're creating work for awards. You're creating a work that's gonna get recognized. You know.
Yep. Thanks for sharing. I think I got some work to do. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. You'll do fine, Ankit. I believe in you. Okay. Thanks, Ankit. Hope that was helpful, everyone. Next, we have Sasha. Hey, Sasha.
Hey.
Cool. So let's start with same thing. Who are you? Where you're from? What you do? And what your question?
So I'm from New Jersey originally. Originally lived in New York for 13 years, then LA for 4, and now I'm in North Carolina. I have a brand for the past 10 years called Perpetual Shade, which is a line of sleeping masks with fun phrases. Um, but in the past almost a year, I've decided to do more small business consulting only because people have always asked me for help. Other small business owners have asked me for help, whether it's advertising or PR or social, like every single thing. And right now, I'm struggling with how to love what I do because I do a lot and I feel like it's hard for me to focus on one thing or even like love one thing. So is it the brand, my brand, or is it the consulting?
What when you say a lot, what do you mean? What do you do? What are those things?
So with the small business consulting, I help people with guiding them on from basic things like how to set up a Shopify store, how to do Facebook ads, should they even run ads, what stores should they reach out to if they need help with production, um, things like that. I mean, every single thing that a small business has to do, I help people with that because I had to do it
Okay.
myself. And then with the brand, I'm doing everything. I don't have help. So I'm creating the photos, like doing the photo shoots.
Well, so I'm trying to get like, is it just too much work, or
No, I
is
love
it
to
you?
work. It's not too much. It's just I'm not obsessed with it. Like how you talk about being obsessed with something, like I'm not obsessed with anything right now. And that's my problem because I'm like, am
Okay,
I wasting my time? Like I don't want to quit. I like
okay.
it, but I'm not like obsessed anymore. Like when I first started, I was obsessed with it.
Oh, when you first started
My
the
brand.
perpetual shade.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why were you? What do you think that is? Let's track back there. What's different then and now, other than the fact that the novelty, because
Yeah.
novelty always wears off.
Yeah. I think first of all, I was living in the city. I was in New York City,
Hmm.
and I was excited about starting a brand, and back then that was 10 years ago. So we had Instagram, which was great.
Hmm.
But I really had to network with people. I had to go down to the garment district with my sample that I made myself, walk into a factory, and then they tell me, hey, bring us materials. And I'm like, what? Like, I didn't
Yeah, so
know
everything was challenged.
anything.
Everything was
Every,
new. Yeah.
it was like going to like graduate school, honestly. Like I had to learn all this stuff. So it was exciting for me. But I was so obsessed with creating this product. Like I knew that I was going to do it, and that's why I did so well with it. But I was like all in. But right now I don't feel that way about really anything. Like I don't have like a goal necessarily that I'm
Are you
obsessed
happy in your life outside of the business?
personally.
Yeah, let's just talk about how you feel in general.
Not really. I'm struggling because I live in North Carolina right now, coming from Los Angeles coming from New York, it's not exciting here. So I'm struggling with like, do I move back to New Jersey, New
Yeah.
York? So I'm in this kind of weird position. And then I'm like, well, what does that look like for
Yeah.
my job?
I mean, maybe for you, it might help you just to take the foot off the brake for a little bit, since it's the holidays and stuff like that, and just kind of reflect a little bit
Hmm.
on what is the life that you want to create for yourself. Because I feel like, because I have two different directions I can go with this. So on one hand, like I was saying before, oh, you weren't there. Sorry. Okay. So a lot of times what happens is people um, go, 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 and then at some point realize, oh, where am I going? Like they feel like lost all of a sudden, or like, is this what I want to do, or something like that. I think that's just natural. It's normal if you've never actually sat down and figured that out, because your body is moving, going towards, but your mind is telling you, like, is that where I want to go?
Hmm.
Here, I'll give you an example, right? Like, there are some women who might think that, oh, I just want to create the perfect home with the perfect Christmas tree, the perfect mom, perfect white picket fence, only to realize that, they raise their kids go off to college, blah, 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 and they're like, only to realize, is this it? Is this what my life was? And they feel the same way you do. But the opposite can be true. Some women just went all out on their career and became really super, super successful, but have no family, no kids, and they're wondering, oh, did I make a mistake? Do you understand what I mean?
Hmm.
So a lot of times, I feel like unless you really are in alignment with exactly what you really want, without that ego, that should come first. Because if that alignment is off, no matter what you do, it's always going to feel like that, right?
Hmm.
So that's where I'm going to say for this part. On the other hand, I'm struggling with the same thing you're struggling with now, which is everything is fun when it's new, because what makes it fun is the challenge, right? That is something new that you have to figure out and you have to solve and things like that. But let's say you've already solved it and you're at the time, you're just doing the same thing again and again. There's no really anything new. It's just become procedurized, right? Then it becomes boring. Do you understand what I mean?
Hmm.
So, and I struggle with the same thing. So this is how I fix it. And it's almost like everything in life. It's not a fix and done. It's a constant battle, okay? So this is how I fix it. Two things. One, I have to get lost in the work. Meaning, sometimes like I'll just like, oh, I need to create an Instagram carousel, and I'll start doing it. And then 2 hours have passed by. It's not the goal of I need to post this so I can get how many followers, or I need to finish this by this time. It's none of the goals. Like at that moment, I'm just really mesmerized and I'm like totally connected. I'm lost in my work. I don't even know time going by. And so everything that you do, whether we're just taking photo and uploading on a website, or you're just writing a description for a product, those are the boring things, right? Like, do those, get lost in those. Try to write there was this like, fuck, I gotta find this. There was this like catalog from like 100 years ago, like that sells like women's clothes and stuff like that through a catalog. But that was known for their copywriting. Their copywriting was so beautiful. It was almost written like it was like a novel. That women love like reading that and like picturing themselves like they'll write something like, imagine wearing this long silky yellow dress on a in a ballroom, or like they'll write a story like that, right? So what I'm saying is every little thing you do, even writing captions or even just taking photo of a product, go over and beyond and see, if I wanted to write the best caption in the world, how would I write it? If I wanted to take the most unique product photo in the world, how would I take it? Right? Really get lost in it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one, right? And second thing is this, maybe it's kind of related, but always try to innovate. So a lot of times what we're going to do is we're going to build a business and we build this process and we get here. And now everything is just a process. It's like, okay, client come in, do this. Okay, like they go through this process. You're just putting in the motion, right? Which you need to do in a business. But you always need R&D, like at night out, right? Like if I were just doing Sunday service, same thing every day, every week, yes, it would be boring. But we just introduced onboarding calls, right? We're about to introduce this storytelling night. I want to introduce this new way of doing assignments. Like I'm constantly innovating and coming up with new things to implement to the business, which is what keeps it more exciting, I guess. But I struggle with the same thing you do. If whenever something gets to a procedure
Mm-hmm.
where I just feel like I'm just doing the same thing over and over, and I'm not doing anything new, I'm not facing any challenge. I feel like that.
Right. And then it makes me want to start something else.
Yeah.
Like,
But just remember that I guess what I did was I did that. You know the reason why I know how to the reason why I know how to I'm so good with cameras and I know how to shoot videos, edit videos, but I also know how to write copy, but I know how to design, I know how to code, I know how to do sales. Like I think the reason why I know how to do all of those is because of that. Because I all did this and I got bored and I skipped to this and I got bored and I got skipped to this. And I kept doing that. And at a certain point I realized that that's always gonna happen. So now what I do is I don't even try to get that from the thing. I try to get that same feel from whatever I've given up. So you know that feeling in the beginning of a business when you're really excited. You're like, oh yeah, perfect. Like I can't wait to have this website up and I can't wait to see that logo and that feeling. I've accepted that is not sustainable. That always dies. It's kind of like when people go into relationships in a selfish way. Oh,
mhm.
looking for the perfect mate. Oh, like perfect mate, right? So what happens is when you do that, yeah, that infatuation, that love is in the beginning, but that dies eventually. You stay with somebody long enough, eventually that dies. And and here's I think what a problem is. Oh fuck. This is why I need to ramble because when I ramble, that's when all these thoughts come. Okay, so this is what's going on. The society and Disney and all these companies have created and romantic comedies have created this notion that for you to feel loved, love is this, right? Where somebody's buying you flowers, sweep you off your feet. That's what love is, right? So we brainwash all the humans, all the people in the world to think that that's what love is. Trust me, you get married, look at your parents, right? You get married, you marry for 20 years. See if they're like that. See if they're like obsessed with each other like that. That shit is not gonna be there, right? That's just so if you're expecting that's what love is, of course 5 years later, 10 years later, you're gonna say, oh, he doesn't love me anymore. She doesn't love me anymore. I'm in a loveless marriage. Oh, my marriage is broken. They start saying shit like that when their marriage is perfectly fine.
Mhm.
Just like every other relationship, it's not roses and rainbows every day. Relationships are hard, and that's part of the love, right?
Mhm.
So, but in your head, if you think like Prince Charming, this is love, then that's why you guys always hear from their wives or girlfriends be like, "Oh, he doesn't love me anymore. He just doesn't. He doesn't love me the same way anymore." Like what? Like, would you rather just me love you that way and not spend the rest of my life with you and not us try to solve problems together and not us go through issues together? Like that's real love, right? And I realized that business is the same way. We all, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, all these people have brainwashed us to think that being passionate about your your job and that obsession is like what happens in the beginning of that startup days, right? But just like relationship, that shit dies. The- you run a business for 20 years, no matter how you were excited 20 years ago, there's no way you're going to be that excited about it 20 years later. That's just what's going to happen. But if we believe that obsession is those things, like what Steve Jobs is doing with the Macintosh and stuff like that, then we're going to feel like, oh, like my job is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm doing is not good enough because I don't feel that way anymore. Oh, I just lost passion for my business. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, look at those people that's been running their business for 40 years that turned it into $1 billion business. They're like 60 years old, furniture business owner, going into the office every day, doing the nitty gritty accounting every single day, you know,
Yeah.
and that's where they get fulfillment. Just showing up every day, um, like with your family, right? With your parents, with your
Mm-hmm.
child, with your spouse, just showing up every day and just being present and, you know, like doing something together, you know, solving problems together. Just that daily thing is where we have to get fulfillment, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to cap it, I guess here's how I do it because
Mm-hmm.
I was exactly at the place you were in a few years ago. Here's how I do it. I gave up on the idea of that fairy tale idea of love. I gave up on the idea of that fairy tale idea of obsessed about a business, like the Steve Jobs or the Cinderella type of love or obsession, right? I gave up on that. I've realized that that's fairy tale and it doesn't exist and the real world is more like this. And once I've accepted that, I actually every day I can be happier.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense because I think another thing that was happening was I was putting too much pressure on myself for it to
Mm.
be this
Uh
amazingly like fulfilling thing like it was before. And that
oh yeah.
was a big part of it, but I'm really glad we're
I
talking
think
about this.
that's why we have a 60% divorce rate.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of people go into love, marriage, thinking that that's, wow, this is amazing, right? And then 5 years into it, that is gone,
Mhm.
and they're like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. Like, and they're trying to keep trying to respark that thing again. Oh, let's go to couples therapy. Let's go to do this. Let's try to spark that intimacy again, rather than trying to be like, okay, this is what it is, and this is real intimacy.
Mhm.
The fact that you know every little flaw and secret about me. The fact that you know all my weaknesses, the fact that like you've seen the worst parts of me, like that is the love. That is the relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting how parallel it is to business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always make that analogy.
Yeah. And the other kind of part of this where I feel pressure on myself is right now with my TikTok account because I don't want to be in a niche. I don't want to have a niche. I don't want
Okay.
that. I don't want
Yeah.
to be like pigeonholed or put the pressure on myself to
Fuck the
find a
pigeonhole.
niche. Yeah, right. I'm fucking pigeonhole. I'm a night owl. So what I've been doing is just making TikToks storytelling. So that's where I'm practicing my storytelling. And I haven't been hashtagging. I don't even write a caption. That's it. Because I'm like, if this is working, if I'm turning into a good
I've seen a
storyteller,
lot of good videos like that. I've seen a lot of viral videos that has no caption, no hashtag, like
mhm,
no sticker, no subtitle. Like,
yeah. And what I've learned in my few TikToks that I've done in the past couple of days actually is I'm talking about things that have happened in the past, but I'm talking about my parents' experience actually. And it
mm,
kind of has to do with the entrepreneurial spirit, I think, and is basically like, okay, they came from nothing, right? Literally came to
oh
America,
yeah, I
had
love those
$7.
stories. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna put them on there, honestly. Like I might interview
Uh,
them on TikTok. But the common denominator so far, which I'm kind of liking, and I think people are liking, is putting yourself in positions where there's opportunity. So like how you were just talking to Ankit about, listen, I see an opportunity here with a person that I admire, and I'm gonna work for them for free. So through my experience, because I've done that too with my business, in the past 10 years. And maybe that could be a topic of conversation on
yeah,
TikTok.
everything that you learned
Yeah.
in life could be a topic of conversation on TikTok. I actually think I'm coming to the similar realization like you about TikTok, where I'm just posting everything right now, like mass, just content at scale. I'm not really worried about the quality right now. I'm just speaking, right? I'm just putting out our video editor. I'm speaking in the Sunday service and things like that. They're taking the clips and uploading it, right? But what's happening is the more I do it, more I'm starting to understand what people like, what they're drawn to, and I'm also starting to understand, okay, what's the difference between what they like, what they're attracted to, versus what they really need, because those are different things too.
Mhm.
But I think I'm starting to get it. How I'm so here's the thing. One thing I'm starting to learn is the way you say something is almost everything. Like, so the actual words that you say, the content itself, is like, I think 20%. I actually think that 80% is how you say it. Like, I bet you if you go back and look at all your videos, the ones where you show some sort of an emotion probably does better than the ones where you're not showing emotion.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? And that charisma is everything. Number one is what I'm starting to realize, because I look at all my content, and there's like definitely certain content I'm like, this is gold, this is so good, and then I post it and like it doesn't perform. And then there's like one where all I'm doing is just yelling and screaming in the video, right? And I don't think I said anything special, and I upload that and people are loving it, right? So so slowly I think you're gonna start to understand what works, what doesn't work, and more importantly, what is it about the thing that works that I like and I don't like? And what
Mhm.
is it about the things that doesn't work that I like, and you need to balance it, because a lot of times it happens like that, where I know that this works, but I personally don't think it's the best content.
Right.
But I still have to make it, right? But I'm learning. And then I know that, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of times I feel like my best content is in Sunday service, where I go on and I just ramble on
You think?
about, yeah.
I think your lives are the best.
Or like something like that, the IG live, where I'm just rambling, right? Without really organizing. I'm just talking, right? Yeah. Yeah, you're right actually. So when I do those IG live, what I'm learning is this. Every time I do those IG live, I know that when I'm more passionate, I'm more into it, it works better. But I also know that this content is really good content. I really need people to hear it. But then this content doesn't work. So when I ramble on IG live, usually I'll talk about a topic for like 5-10 minutes, when that could have been said in like 20 seconds. But I'm going into all the nuances of it. And in my mind, I think the nuance is what's good, is what makes it good in my mind. But the nuance is what's losing the audience too. So
Mm.
now I'm learning, I have to figure out how to learn to, okay, how do I take these nuances and say it in 2 sentences where it has the same effect as saying the whole thing, but they'll actually hear it and it'll actually be more emotional. And how do I take that and how do I say it in an emotional way by like really putting myself in that moment and things. So I am even subconsciously learning how to communicate better like that and make better content through that. So I think we're at the same place. My TikTok is bombing right now. Like,
Really?
yeah, it's like my TikTok gets no views. I keep posting, but I'm just like testing. Okay,
Mm.
this works.
Right, because it is hard to go onto TikTok without being selfish, right? Because I'm like, well, what can I get out of this? How can I get clients? Like, how can I get people to buy my product? But I'm trying very hard to just tell stories that don't have an agenda, like a selfish agenda. I would prefer to tell stories where people can relate and get something out of it. I'm trying to be on TikTok for the my followers, for people that watch the video, versus like being selfish about it, but it's hard not to be selfish about it.
Yeah, you could be selfish in a different way because for me, I'm selfish when I make content, but not the way you think.
Mhm.
Like, not because, oh, I want to get more followers or more reach or something like that. I'm selfish in a way where I'm selfish in a way um I need to come up I need to come up with a better way to say this. And I'm using TikTok as a test. I'm using the audience as a
Like a
you know,
focus group or something.
focus group
Yeah.
to test my shit. So it's very selfish, right? And also, yeah, and also I said this in last week's episode, but if I were you, at least for the, I guess both perpetual state and, because they're kind of related, right? Because you're teaching what the behind the scenes of running this business on this business, right?
Right.
So what I would do is, I mean, like the thing that you're already doing, right? Like for example, like, okay, here's a new product that we launched, and this is how I made it. Like,
Mm.
go down into the specific, right? And even go more specific, like most people when they do something like this, they do silk screening or whatever, right, like that. But the way I learned that when you do that, this is a problem. So I do it like this now, or
Okay.
you go into and you give us that one little tiny, and that's equivalent to this. Okay, so you know how when I put up a post like, um, here are ways you can shorten your sentences, or when I do a post where like, okay, or the other day, like when you use this photo versus this photo, you want to try to oh, here, best one. Last night I posted in Instagram stories, um when you use photos for your website, make sure you have a photo of you looking at the camera, because the reason why all magazines have the photo looking at the camera is because that's scientifically proven to grab people's attention when somebody's staring at you. When you have an opt-in, make sure you have the subject look to the side, to the opt-in, because the audience eye is going to go where your eye is, right? Things like that. Make sure when you take a photo, don't take a lot of photographers want to take portrait photos, but you can't really use portrait photos on a website because so you have to use landscape, and you have to make sure that there's enough space up to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Things like, so I gave those tips and I put it on stories, and I'm going to post it on reels, right? But that's what people love, when
Mm-hmm.
I give them practical, quick little things like that they haven't even thought of. But because I've been doing this for a long time, I to me it's like, so of course, like it's like obvious thing, but that's what people love. So what I would ask you to do is take one specific thing like that and give them that one little practical tip, one little quick little tip, because yeah, that's what I found. Like I would build this like really, like Jay Shetty, when we did Jay Shetty's website, like we thought about the brand, what is the first impression we want them to have. Okay, if this type of audience comes here, they're gonna go here, and this is the path. Like, we overthought the shit out of the whole thing, and high level, and like, and a high level, we want to give it this feel. Like, I really planned it out, but the client doesn't care. Like, client doesn't care about the high level plan, and why we're making this and that. Okay, that's why we hire you for. So you do that. What they care about is this, son. oh, I want the video player to look like this.
Mhm.
Or be like, oh, you see how they did this slideshow like that? Can we add a slideshow in my website like that? It's those little specific things is what they care about. Even though what really matters is the high level.
Mhm.
So as a content creator, we need to be very wary of that. Like the important things that they need versus what they want. And we need to make sure we give both. And I guess my whole entire goal is this, right? Because I need to get wow, like I'm really going deep here. I'm getting a lot of new stuff. My entire goal is this. Here's the world of there's 7 billion people in the world. These billion people are lazy. They don't want to put in any work. They don't want to come to Sunday service. They don't want to use their critical thinking brain. They're lazy. Somehow I need to get them to here, meaning showing up and doing this, practicing, and things like. So I need to. How do I get them from here to here, right? So now what they want is how do I get 1 million followers, or how do I close a sale, blah, 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 right? And I know that overall what I need to get to them is here. So I need to slow. So I need to balance. So I'm figuring out, okay, how can I take a clip from my Sunday service, do like a little clip that people are gonna love. It might not help them, but it's gonna attract them, right? And then how do I get, okay, once I got them, I got their attention. Okay, how do I get them to the next step? Okay, maybe I give them a 5-minute masterclass first. And then how do I get them to the next step? Next step, right?
Mhm.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out that content game. Okay, what kind of shorts video do I want to put to get people's attention? And then now how do I want to get them from here to here through a longer format? So I'm testing all of this shit out right now.
It was like when you did the Canva class for us.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
blew my mind that so many people
So many people said that.
they loved it. They didn't know how to make a slide in Canva. And of course, like, I'm
To
not
me, that was the easiest class I've ever done. Right?
yeah, but it
Like
was it was so valuable to so many people, like the little things. Like, how do
uh,
you, align text in Canva?
uh.
It's like, you know.
So that's why I need to pay my attention to that and say
Mhm.
my passion cannot come from making the best content. Because if I make the best content, nobody's gonna like it.
Right.
My passion has to come from how do I figure out how to make a content that all these people are gonna love, but it's not some cliche, trendy, stupid shit. It actually has some substance to it, right?
Mhm.
So a good example is this. How do I make a Fight Club, or how do I make The Matrix, or how do I make a Inception? Because if you look at those movies, right, Matrix, Inception, or those movies, they're critically acclaimed, meaning even all the top directors agree that that's a great film. But it has commercial success too. Even the dumb audience also loves it because it's got all the graphics, all the action, and all the special effects and all that shit too, right?
Mhm.
And Jay Z is also another perfect example of that. Jay Z is the only one who has a um, mainstream popularity, but also has street cred. It's really hard to have both. You know what I mean? And I think that's where I'm putting my passion now. Where how can I create these viral, amazing posts that are going to go viral, but they're not cheesy and tacky and trendy. They're actually substance, so that even other experts, so that I even get street creds from the other experts too. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Totally understand, and that's like the secret sauce right there.
Yeah, and that's how you, because that if you pursue that, if you're trying to balance those T's and make that's a lifelong mastery. You'll never master that. You're gonna spend the rest of your life trying to do that because it's such a hard thing to do.
Mhm.
And if you put your passion in that instead, then you'll always be passionate because that's a problem that can't be solved.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
it,
that's it. I mean, you
uh,
solved it. Like, that's what it is. Because I have, like, I have the brand for 10 years. Like, I have the success
uh,
from, like, the high level people, right? But now it's like, okay, I need the street cred from my audience, right? From these
Yeah.
people that are starting, but I want them to be comfortable listening to me and not be intimidated. I got to connect with them on like their level.
I love all the stories that you tell about your dad, and like how you kind of make an analogy from how they were to how it applies to business today and things like that.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love all of those. You should keep
Thank
doing
you.
those.
Yeah, they're good, and I could take from them too, for sure, because I learned a lot from them too. I mean, it's like that I was taught by them
Yeah.
how to be, and how to
Mhm.
have a business
And I
and
noticed that your videos are similar to me in the sense that when you're a little bit emotional and when you're like pissed off, or that one video where you talked about that checkout lady who gave you all that free stuff,
yeah,
like that was so good because I can feel the, like, you know what it is, a lot of times when I watch these videos there's usually like a pause where somebody talks and then there's a little bit of pause where, and during that 1 second pause I can see that you're kind of reflecting, you're kind of bringing yourself back to that moment, right? So you were talking things and then you were like, oh my gosh, like, and when you did that I'm like, okay, I feel the genuine. And the same thing happened when I like a few months ago on IG live I was like yelling at somebody, right? Somebody wanted a shout out and I yelled at her, right? And then she replied to me and she said, you didn't have to be so mean or something like that. And I went on stories and I apologized to her, right? And then I was saying, like all of this happened, and then I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, right? I said it like that, right? And everybody, all my friends told me that like that was the moment when I could truly feel like how sorry you really were.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
I remember that. Yeah.
So showing that emotion, somehow, if you're genuine and you're just completely being unfiltered with your emotion,
Hmm.
there's these nuances that'll come out that'll make people know that you're genuine.
Yeah. You and I are similar that way. We can't not be.
Yeah.
And I've gotten feedback from people on my Instagram when I post stories when I'm like yelling at people that are brand owners. I'm like, why the fuck aren't you on your Instagram showing your face? And they're like, are you talking to me? I was like, yeah, you. And
They
then
love those, right?
they
Yeah.
love those. And then they go and they do it and they're thanking me for it. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I wasn't expecting a thank you. Like, I just was so emotional because I'm like, I
Hmm.
see you guys.
Hmm.
Like, just do what I say.
Trust me, when I say, you know, every one of you guys, like, so both you and Ankit, I've interacted with a lot. So I feel like I know you guys. Our small group leaders, obviously, I know them. And there are some members at Night Owl Nation that I feel like I know intimately. I know well. I know their personality. And when I see them, I'm like, oh, you know what? I love this about you. I love this about you. Like, I love this about you. I wish I could be like that. But then what I see people doing is they suppress that side
Mhm.
and they try to fit in the norm. So like for me, example of that for me is like I always I always apologize for being ranting or being too emotional. And I'm like, oh, sorry, sorry, I was ranting. Sorry, I was too emotional. Like, and I try to suppress myself from getting that emotional. But the thing is, that's the thing that they love the most from me. So you see what's happening here? It's almost like that with everybody. There's somebody, this is their strength, but they try to suppress it. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry I did that. Oh, I'm sorry. Right?
Mhm.
So this is becoming so apparent to me that that's what we're doing. We're suppressing that side of me. We're apologizing for it
Mhm.
when we should be broadcasting it to the world.
Exactly. It's so true, and it's funny when you're online and on TikTok and see people making videos and they have that YouTube voice.
Yeah,
I hate that. I'm like, you even my friends, I'm like, I told them, like, you don't talk like that. Like,
yeah.
what are you
Like
doing?
people who are like, the hardest is like, I feel like it's not that bad if they're like a really outgoing, talkative person who's doing that. But the worst is when kind of quiet, shy introvert tries to put on the mask of entertainer, like, hey everybody, my name is like, that whole thing. And
Yeah.
it's so cringe because you can feel that it's totally not them.
Yeah. Yeah, and
That's
it's
why I love Lex Friedman. You
yeah,
know Lex Friedman?
yeah.
Because that guy, if you hear him talk, right? Like, I should be falling asleep right now, right? The way he talks. But the reason why I think I'm not is because he is talking like Ben Stein, like, hello class, today we're gonna, like, even though he's talking like that, you can tell that that's number one, that's genuinely him. And number two, even though he's talking like that, you can genuinely tell that he's 100% into the conversation. He's totally into it. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that genuinity, I think you cannot break. So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much. This was awesome.
awesome. Yeah, it was great to see you guys. Like,
You too.
I know we talk a lot, and I know both of you guys and how your business is, but yeah, it's always great to catch up and learn about those little nuances. Oh, I didn't even know you were struggling with that. I'm glad I know that now. Things like that. So, all right, okay. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Ankit, for the wonderful questions. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Um, we'll be back next Friday. Until then, I'll see you guys on Instagram stories. If you're a Night Owl Nation member, I'll see you on Sunday. And if you want to join this, if you're a Night Owl Nation member and if you want to join this podcast, you can DM Gigi and she'll make it happen. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Bye.